The concept of risk is somewhat subjective, but is present in several aspects of life. So, its application in projects should not be that complicated. But very often, we don't dedicate the due attention to the subject. When someone is about to start a long car trip, she must check beforehand if there is enough fuel in the tank to reach the final destination non-stop, or if refueling is needed, if there is at least one refueling station on the road. She must check the pressure in the tires in order to drive with more control of the car. The car must have a spare tire. The driver should use a safety belt and, if possible, to take the car to a mechanic to check the brakes and other items. All of this to avoid the risk of an accident, the risk of lack of fuel, flat tire, or other mechanical problem. For each car trip risk, there is one or more mitigation actions to reduce the risks. The same applies to projects. The ideal situation is performing an assessment of all possible risks. Prioritize those that are more likely, the ones with more negative consequences, and the ones easier to avoid, and then taking precautionary measures to minimize risks occurrence and or their impacts. Similar to people who imprudently make a long car trip without executing any additional action to increase its safety, many project managers don't take appropriate care of risks, be because they believe that everything will be all right, be due other priorities. But a well-planned project in all other aspects may fail without an adequate risk management. There are several categories of risk in projects. For example, security hazards, budget overruns, unmet deadlines, quality shortfalls. Sometimes one single mitigation action can reduce one or more risks of different categories, or it can reduce one risk and at the same time increase another. Adding one person to the project team, for example, can diminish the risk of not meeting the deadline, but can also increase the risk of budget overrun. In this case, the project manager must choose what is more important, the project's deadline or its cost, and take the appropriate decision. Risks may vary over time and should be reevaluated periodically. It is recommended in some situations that the risk analysis be made by someone from outside the project team, because the team may not see clearly the risks if people are deeply involved in the task's execution, not seeing the forest for the trees. But the project team shall always participate in the discussions about the project risks and the best ways to minimize them. We'll continue in the next video.